德国年度工时比台湾少600个小时。Hello， 大家好，我是阿关。今天来到德国来探讨德国总理肖兹领导的执政联盟要在近期推出一项成长计划，用税务减免和福利改革鼓励劳工多工作，这是打算加入英国和荷兰的行列，要将疫情爆发后工时巨减的现象扭转过来，以解决经济困境。今天我们来到德国，我们要访问德国当地人对于这个政策成长计划有什么样的想法，就让我们看下去吧。Do German people generally value work-life balance?
Oh yeah, sure they do. Like 100%. I think it's really important for them.
You personally?
Oh yes, I think it's really important to have a hobby. Don't overwork yourself. It's really important to have a really good work-life balance.
Do German people generally value work-life balance?
I would say so, yeah.
What about you personally?
I would say I do, but sometimes less, sometimes more.
Do you mind your coworker or your boss text you after your working time?
It depends on which topic. If it's work-related, then I usually don't answer, and if it's non-work related, then of course.
Do German people generally value work-life balance?
Normally, yes.
Normally, yes. What about your personal experience?
My personal experience, I think work-life balance is important.
So after your work, you don't want your coworker or somebody text you?
No.
No. Okay, that's good. Do German people generally value work-life balance?
Yes. I think the flexibility makes a big difference. So yes, I do.
Do German people value work-life balance?
Yes, I think German people, they love to hike.
To hike?
Yeah, to hike in the forest, to walk.
What's the relate with work-life balance?
So they have many hobbies.
Okay. Do German people value work-life balance?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's very important for German people to have a good work-life balance.
What about you personally?
Sure, I think it's important to travel sometimes, to have your hobbies. Like I like to do a lot of sports, and I need this to be more productive at work. I need this balance in my free time.
So when you finish your work, you don't want anything related with your work?
At the moment, I'm relaxed about this, so I can also do after my work. I could also do the same thing.
Do German people value work-life balance?
Yes, of course. It's a really important thing for all the Germans as well, because we also have family, like all the people all over the world, and we value work-life balance, of course.
Do you mind after your working time, your boss or your coworker still texting you something about the work?
Yes, of course it happens. Of course it happens. But anyhow, you can manage it. So you can go home and you can have dinner with your family. Sometime if there's the need that you work another hour, it's fine. So you can do it after dinner. So it's fine. You have the quality time with your family on the one hand side, and on the other hand side, you can please your boss to answer questions.
Time after your work that you replying your boss is still considered your working hour?
It depends. For the management level, we do not extra hours. It's already included in the high salary. But for the other people, of course, they can do it as hybrid working, and they can clock.
Would you like to increase your salary and help the country's economic growth by working overtime?
Yes, depending on the amount of hours, but I do like my job, so I'm fine with increasing the hours.
Would you like to increase your salary to help the country's economic growth by working overtime?
I think that's a really difficult question because I don't want to brag, but I already get more than the average in Germany. So for me, it's not as important to get more money, but better work-life balance. For people with less income, I think this is a valid question, but for me, I think I earn enough to sustain my lifestyle, and I'm happy with where I am.
Would you like to increase your salary and help the country economic growth by working overtime?
So I'm not sure if it is necessary because working 35-hour week, I think is quite fine.
You only work 35 hours a week?
Yeah, I mean, your working day is 7 hours normally, and you can sometimes work 7.5, and then on the other day, you work less. So it's very flexible. So it's good if you have children or if you have hobbies. Yeah, it's quite nice. But also, you shouldn't forget that there's in the 7-hour day, there's also 1 hour additional break time. So the break time is not paid. So lunch and so on is not paid.
But you say other country, they count the pay, right?
I heard that in Iceland they do this. Yeah. But I'm not sure if they pay 100% of the break or only the half time of the break.
Would you like to increase your salary to help the country economic growth by working overtime?
Yes, I think this is a good idea, especially for the German economy, because for the time being we have really a lot of old people and not enough young people. There is really a gap between the people leaving on retirement and the other ones coming from the university, starting their life at work. And therefore, I think it makes sense that we motivate the people to work longer than they did before. And it's also good for the economy, of course.
Agree. Would you like to increase your salary to help the country economic growth by working overtime?
Nah, not really. I think it's more important to have a good lifestyle than to overwork.
Would you like to increase your salary and help country's economic growth by working overtime?
No.
Good. Very good. Would you like to increase your salary and help the country economic growth by working overtime?
I don't see how that would help the whole country's economic growth if I do like 1 hour more.
Like if many workers, they do the same, so maybe. But not only you, like many people.
It depends on the compensation. Uncompensated overtime, no. If it's compensated by like I can take the time off later or like get paid for it or even better paid than I usually do, then maybe.
Do you support increased daily working hours and reduce weekly working days, like to have 3 days weekend?
It depends. I wouldn't want to do it like every week, but if there's something I want to do and I can do like work by my weekly hours in 1 week on 3 days or 4 days and then take the 1 day off, then of course, which is what I actually do sometimes.
Do you support increased daily working hours and reduce weekly working days, like to have 3 days weekend instead of 2 days weekend?
So me personally, yes, because it's much easier to go for a long day on the one hand side, because then you can do a lot of work and you can do 1 day full of work and then have 1 day off. So it's easier to organize yourself. But for the employers, it's not so easy because whenever you're working together with colleagues and you're not, for example, in IM where you can code yourself by yourself, you lose a little bit the team spirit because you're not working together and you're sitting at home. But for me personally, it would be really nice.
Do you support increased daily working hours and reduce weekly working day, like 3 days weekend?
I think yes. It is important to keep in consideration that you might need to increase or decrease the income. It is really highly dependent on where you work and what you do. So I think for a nurse, for example, this would be not suitable. But for somebody working in a normal office job, I think this is probably a suitable thing.
You also told me that right now, a lot of German people, they are talking about this topic, like they want to have 3 days.
Especially the working union at the moment is talking about this specific topic. It's a highly controversial topic at the moment with Germany.
Do you support increased daily working hours and reduce weekly working days, like 3 days weekend?
So for me personally, it's kind of fine to do each day 7 hours and then 5 days a week. And sometimes I do a bit more and other day I can take off. But I don't want to have every week 4 days, 3 days weekend.
Do you support increased daily working hours and reduce weekly working days, like to have 3 days weekend?
No, it wouldn't work.
Why?
Because you have less people work. So you need the persons who work. Otherwise, you have a problem with your economy.
So you support being the same, like 2 days weekend?
2 days weekend is enough.
Do you support increased daily working hours and reduce weekly working days, like to have 3 days weekend instead of 2 days weekend?
Fixed days, not really, because I think doing the same work on less days can be very stressing. But having the possibility to do like a week of where you do more hours temporarily and then have a 3-day week, definitely.
Do you support increased daily working hours and reduce weekly working days to have 3 days weekend instead of 2 days weekend?
That's true. I support this idea.
Do you support tax relief on working more than 41 hours a week?
I would say yes. It's basically the opposite of the existing laws.
Do you support tax relief on working more than 41 hours a week?
Again, it depends. If my contract says it's all the time like that, every week I work like that, probably no. But if I can decide, okay, I know in November, in the winter month or so, I'm not doing that much in my free time, then I could think about, okay, I work this month, I work more and get a tax relief for that. Then, yeah, why not?
Do you support tax relief on working more than 41 hours a week? Because right now you work for 35 hours, right?
Yeah, I don't have a big opinion on this. For me, it would be fine. I think if it would lead to that a lot of people would do over hours, maybe it would be unhealthy at one point. I think there's like a German law that you are not allowed to work more than 10 hours per day.
Ah.
I mean, it would not be more than this. So then it should be fine.
Do you support tax relief on working more than 41 hours a week?
Yes, I think it would be fair.
Do you support tax relief on working more than 41 hours a week?
No, I don't think so. I think people should not be encouraged to work longer than 41 hours.
Do you support tax relief on working more than 41 hours a week?
Yes, I think this is really a good idea to support the companies in the country to make sure that they get the right people for tax release. The people will think twice if they will do overtime or not. I think it's worth it because especially the young people, they need at the beginning of their life, they need a lot of money. And therefore, I think it's worth to offer it.
Do you support tax relief on working more time than 41 hours a week?
That's a really interesting thing, I'd say. Yes, I would say I would support it more than tax beneficial for families, because I think tax beneficial for families is a little bit too old. For example, me as a single person, I live alone and have to pay rent, I have to pay that, and that. And there are many things I have to pay that you only pay once, like the connection to your house for the electricity and stuff like that. You pay more electricity use, but the connection fee is like really high % of that. I think it's an interesting thing to be able to lower your income tax if you're a single person by working a little bit more.
So you like this plan?
I'd say yes, even though I don't think I would specifically use it.
What are your thoughts about this growth plan?
It's a good idea because if you want to like do something for the company, or not only for the company but
For
also
Germany.
for Germany itself, you should be rewarded, and I think that's a good reward. Yes.
What are your thoughts about this growth plan?
It definitely makes sense, but I think it needs to be like a mixture for depending on the area of expertise you're working on to increase hours at some point, like especially smaller companies. I think it makes more sense to increase hours there because it's harder to have the processes in place to having two people working on the same topic.
Yeah.
So in total, I think it makes sense. It can be necessary for different areas, working areas. Yeah.
What are your thoughts about this growth plan?
Yeah, it's fair. If you can decide on your own how much you work, if you work 37 hours a week and you have the money for 37 hours a week, it's okay. And then the normal tax, and then if you work more, then as 41 hours a week, and then you have less tax, it's okay. Can decide everyone for himself.
What are your thoughts about this growth plan?
I think it's a good plan, but it should be, everybody should decide by themselves. So we have a lot of people, they really enjoy their spare time, the quality time with the family. And then we have some younger people, they told me, okay, now I'm young, I do not have family, so now I can earn money. Maybe I can later on buy a flat or something, and then I can grow my family, and then I will reduce the working hours. But at the beginning, for them, it's interesting. So they can have their own choice.
Agree. So what are your thoughts about this growth plan? If you can work more, reduce the tax, and have more benefit, would you do so?
No, I don't think it's a good plan to encourage people to work longer. That's why they are abandoning their families. Anyway, if they work longer, there's a shortcomings on something. Family, relationship, kids, hobbies, personal life, mental health.
Okay, thank you so much. What are your thoughts about this growth plan?
It might work, but as always, it depends on the conditions. In general, to say if nothing changes, then probably most people won't even do it.
But if you can pay less tax and then you have more benefits.
Yeah, and if you can decide, like, do it for 1 month, and then after that, it's back to the state before, then, yeah, why not?
What are your thoughts about this growth plan?
I didn't hear about it yet. I think it's fine if work is a bit less tax, because in my opinion, it's like every income should have the same tax. If you earn less, you should pay less tax, but earning income for work should be kind of the same tax than like an income for stocks and other investments. Because in Germany for work, you pay like between 30 and 40% tax. But if you do some things with stocks, then you pay only 25%
Really?
tax. Yeah, and I think you can manage to get it even lower. But I think it's a bit unfair. Normally, every income should be the same. It doesn't matter. Also, if you get inherited, I think you should pay the same amount of tax than for income.
To be fair.
Yeah.
今天的街访看起来，其实德国人真的蛮重视 work-life balance。那他们其实也同时想要有3天的 weekends， 但是他们可能觉得不用每个礼拜，就是看个人这样。相对于台湾人，我觉得欧洲人本来就是比较注重 work-life balance， 但他们也非常支持这个政策。谢谢大家观看，记得分享、订阅希望543，也欢迎订阅阿关的频道阿关 KUAN。谢谢大家，我们下次见，拜拜。